Welcome to the 12 Report with Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. President Tinubu hosts governors, vows state-level security overhaul. U.S. Congress panel submits report to Trump, seeks sanctions over Christian persecution in Nigeria. Troops deployed in Mexico to deal with violence over drug lord's death. We have our reporters stationed in different parts of the country. Joshua Imarayi and Idong Joseph are standing by in the FCT. Emmanuel Olubobokun is here in Lagos. Chizoba Anuwe is standing by in Patu. Bongani Siziba joins from South Africa, while Afia Hagen joins from London. We've got the details in a moment. Let's start now with security matters, where the United States House of Committees on Appropriations and Foreign Affairs have submitted a report to the White House on alleged attacks against Christian communities in Nigeria. The action follows President Donald Trump's redesignation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Congressman Riley Moore and Appropriations Committee Chairman Tom Cole led the review after a directive from the president. The team conducted hearings, consulted religious leaders, and visited internally displaced persons camps in Benue State. The document recommends a bilateral security arrangement, visa restrictions, targeted sanctions, and conditional funding tied to measurable steps to curb violence. It also calls for legal reforms and technical support to address armed groups. U.S. officials say the proposals aim to strengthen cooperation and improve security outcomes between both nations. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has called for greater unity, compassion, and inclusive development across Nigeria, urging state governors to intensify efforts towards supporting vulnerable citizens. The president made the call while hosting state governors to an interfaith breaking of the fast meeting as Muslims observe Ramadan and Christians mark the Lenten season. He announced plans to establish state police to tackle insecurity and strengthen protection for citizens, noting that the initiative is aimed at empowering states while reinforcing national unity.
We are out of the dark tunnel of uncertainty. The economy is showing up. Let's help those unemployed. What I promise you is not to be postponed. We will establish state police to combat the insecurity.
Usually often that the Muslim fasting and Christian fasting coincides at a time. I think we had one 33 years ago. This convergence is a special situation created by God to remind us, we Christians and Muslims, not to allow religious and ethnic differences to guide our thoughts and our political activities.
And now to a rather sad one. Funeral service has begun for victims of the Sunday night attack in Dorowa Babuji in Barikin Ladi local government area of Plateau State. Family, friends, loved ones, government officials, religious leaders, and security personnel are on the ground to witness the funeral and the burial that will follow shortly. Earlier, the Commissioner of Police in Plateau State, Abasi Ewa, says calm has been restored in the troubled area. And to the judiciary, the Federal High Court in Abuja will today hear arguments in a suit filed by the Incorporated Trustees of the National Forum of Former Legislators, seeking to compel the Independent National Electoral Commission to deregister some political parties for allegedly failing to meet the minimum electoral performance threshold stipulated by law. Justice Peter Lifu had earlier adjourned the matter to today following the absence of some parties in court. We're now joined by our correspondent, Joshua Imurai, who is live at the Federal High Court. Joshua, good afternoon to you. What are the minimum electoral thresholds the plaintiffs are relying on in asking the court to compel INEC to deregister these parties?
Good afternoon to you, Blessings. The minimum performance threshold for electoral parties that the incorporated trustee of the National Forum for Former Legislators are actually harping on is the fact that they claim that these plaintiffs have failed to, that these defendants in the case, as the political parties that are seeking their deregistration, have failed to win any seats, any elective seat at any level at all. And they also say that they have failed to secure at least 25% of votes in any state or presidential election across the nation. And thirdly, they are saying that they don't have representation across wards, local government, even in state and the Federal Capital Territory. So these are the points that these individuals who are approaching the court for an order to deregister some of these political parties are harping on, and they are saying that this will strengthen electoral justice and jurisprudence in this country. Blessings.
So which political parties are actually affected in this suit?
Initially, before the suit, the entire charge sheet and the entire thing was adjourned, it had only the name of ADC in the suit. But today they informed the court that they have amended it and included some other parties. So the summation of the parties involved are the defendants are the Independent National Electoral Commission, as well as the Attorney General of the Federation. But the political parties involved are the African Democratic Congress, that's the ADC, the Accord Party, the AP, the Zenith Labour Party, ZLP, and Action Alliance. But today in court, something dramatic happened. When the Action Alliance announced appearances, two lawyers stood up to announce appearance for the Action Alliance. They are saying that there seems to be infighting within the Action Alliance, and they've had several court judgments from the High Court to the Court of Appeal that has favored one faction, actually represented by Omoyele Sowore, and there's still an appeal before the Supreme Court. So the judge, however, told them that they should find a way to settle this before the next adjourned date, unless he will have to act on his own wisdom. So that is all from the court, and we are waiting for the next adjourned date, which is the 24th of March, that the court will rule on some housekeeping applications, some preliminary objections, and maybe hear the suits in mention.
All right, Joshua Imurai there on the update on the party deregistration suit live there in court, and definitely News Central is still very much on ground. Now, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has cancelled 485 Abuja land documents after they failed authenticity verification checks. FCT Minister Nyesom Wike approved the cancellation following a review by the Department of Land Administration and the Abuja Geographic Information Systems. Officials say several of the affected documents were confirmed to be forged and have now been removed from the regularization database. The cancelled documents cover layout across Bwari, Abuja Municipal and Kuje area councils, including Ushafa, Dawaki, Kurudu, Yanya, Lugbe, and Kuchiako. Authorities say all land in the FCT is vested in the federal government, with titles required to pass through official processing channels. The action is part of ongoing reforms aimed at addressing forged documents, double allocations, and irregular land grants. And now some traders at Irete Market in Owerri West local government area have continued to display and sell their goods along the busy Owerri-Onitsha Express Road, despite directives to remain within designated market stalls. The council chairman, Victor Osigwe, says a new market committee has been set up to enforce compliance. News Central's Alex Obonaya completes the report.
For commuters along the busy Owerri-Onitsha Expressway, Roadside trading at Irete Market has become a daily challenge. Traders line the highway with food items, household goods, and other wares just meters from speeding vehicles. While shoppers praise the convenience, authorities warn that such trading is a safety hazard and causes traffic congestion. The chairman of Owerri West Local Government, Victor Osigwe, insists the practice must stop.
It's very, very risky, for one to venture coming close to highway. As a local government chairman, I know that thing is very, very dangerous for traders there at the market, Irete Market. And on that note, the local government has taken several steps, to avert any ugly incident that might, happen any time. We are not praying for any bad thing there, but most of the times you have to be cautious.
According to the chairman, a new market committee has been inaugurated to ensure strict compliance. He adds that the aim is to restore order and safeguard commuters along this highway. Despite this, some traders argue that moving fully into the market stalls could affect the sales.
Some people will just come back from work and saw what they want to buy and buy it. But when the market is inside, they can't come inside. They will look tired.
Market be on the way is not the best thing. I think market is supposed to be well organized, because be on the road like this, major road like this, can cause accidents at any time. But in this market, I want to say that population selling in this market is more than the market building. That's why you see people outside. More especially, it's from 4 o'clock you see us outside.
Say it's federal road. Anything can happen. Trailer can fail break. So, as for me, it's not good. Anything that government wants to do, let him do about it.
As enforcement begins, the coming days will reveal whether traders will comply or a further action will be necessary to clear the expressway. But for now, roadside trading remains a common sight at Irete Market, even as safety concerns grow. In Imo for News Central, Alex Ebunea.
Now, the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria is holding its National Executive Council meeting amid growing concerns in Nigeria's oil and gas sector. Our correspondent is live at the venue with details of the meeting and issues expected to top the discussion. Idong Joseph will be giving us an update now. Idong Joseph, if you can hear us, what is the update on the development at the Pengasan NEC meeting?
I am currently at the venue where the National Executive Council meeting of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria is holding. And inside here are representatives of senior staff representatives of in the oil and gas sector. And they are here to discuss on issues that they feel is affecting their business in the oil and gas sector. And currently the meeting has moved to an executive session. But before then, the president of the Trade Union Congress, Festus Osifo, who doubled here as the chairman of the NEC here, had spoke to newsmen and raised some of the concerns of members of this association, and with a particular emphasis on the executive order recently dished out by President Bola Tinubu, saying that the order by the president, this executive order by the president in the oil and gas sector is a direct attack to the PIA Act and is calling for a review. He says that many of its members are workers in the NNPCL, and that if that executive order is implemented, then many of its members are going to be affected. So it's calling on the president to review his decision, and he raised concerns saying that if the PIA is not working as expected, then the president should follow the normal route, which is going to the National Assembly seeking an amendment to the PIA Act, where stakeholders will also have an opportunity to come in and also share their concern regarding this. So he's calling on the president to review this. But he also hinted us that the association has begun talk with the executive, and that they started since Sunday, and by tomorrow they will still meet with the executive also to let them know their concerns and the reason why they are against the executive order by the president.
All right, Ejang Joseph there on the update on the Pengassan NEC meeting. Definitely, we'll still keep our eyes and ears on ground. We'll go on a short break now. When we come back, a fire outbreak on Monday night has affected Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos and has forced emergency response teams into action. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, a fire outbreak on Monday night affected Murtala Mohammed International Airport in Lagos, forcing emergency response teams into action. The blaze reportedly started in a server room at Terminal 1, the old international terminal, and spread to parts of the departure area before firefighters brought it under control. Airport authorities confirmed that about 14 people were rescued, 6 sustained minor injuries, and no deaths were recorded. The incident briefly disrupted flight operations, but normal activities have since resumed, while investigations continue with an electrical fault suspected as the possible cause. News Central's Emmanuel Olubapopo is at the scene and joins us live for updates. Emmanuel, this is quite shocking because, this is a place where hundreds of people go to every day for pickups and to travel and drop-offs. We've been told the fire started from the server room at the international airport. Is there any word as to what exactly triggered it, the cause of the fire?
Yes, first, good afternoon to you in the studio. At the international airport, at the old terminal, according to the minister, who we just spoke with just a minute ago, because he was here live, we came to get the first-hand information about the scene and what actually happened. He said that he's not really sure about what actually caused the fire, though there were speculations that it was from the terminal, the server room, due to some electrical fault. But according to him, he said he can't really say what exactly caused it. And he also said something very important, which is the fact that he noted this building that is already due for demolition and rehabilitation. So it's more or less like the fire was like a fast track for them to be able to demolish this building on time and get it worked up. Why? Because this building has been here for over 50 years and it needs rehabilitation. And those right behind me, you can see construction work is going on, showing the bridge connecting the road down here to the terminal being destroyed. Why? Because they're trying to build another road that is going straight to the new terminal. Why they bring down this very old terminal and rebuild it up. But the only discouraging thing and the only saddening thing that they experienced was the fact that so many of the equipment that they want to actually transport to the new building, the new construction site for the new terminal site, it was being destroyed. We've been destroyed actually, and they have to spend a lot of money to require them. And also, most importantly, he also noted that the NIMET building, which controls the weather, which takes stocks of the weather, planes can go up, was actually destroyed, and everything the event was lost. But according to him, fortunately, no lives were lost, though there are some injured persons. But according to him now, information reaching him is saying that they're actually undergoing treatment and they are not coming back up. And so far, the building here, very soon, they will demolish it inside, because I was inside. I went in and saw things that were destroyed there. But the fire is just a way to just hasten them to demolish this building on time and get it working while they undergo construction of the new building by the CCECC.
All right, Emmanuel, now the recent fire incident at Afriland Towers as well, in which some lives were sadly lost, was also traced to its server room. Is this a pointer in any way to a trend, maybe a construction fault or a wiring fault that is peculiar to maybe Lagos or Nigeria?
They can't really say there's been a fire incident in the past. I'm saying that now, that we should not be panicked. Possibly it might be electrical, but he is saying he can't really say firsthand what the issue is. But though the fan director once said that maybe due to the server issues or electrical, but there's something they are going to look into, because the president, in person of President has put in place in the new structure, in the new building, facilities that will fast track and incidents like fire and all the maybe electrical glitches and the rest. And it is all installed in the new building. So therefore, in subsequent in future occurrences, we don't pray to actually experience those. Why? Because they've gotten hands in the equipment, they've already brought in hands in tools to be able to meet any issue of fire incident so that something like this does not occur again. And the building, according to him, he said is going to take a period of 22 months. That is for the new terminal building, the 22 months, all needs to be equal, which they've already started, starting from this month of February. So from now, we can now start counting 22 months. So March will reduce months before the new.
All right, Emmanuel Olubarakun there at the airport regarding the airport fire incident. Thankfully, no lives were lost, and those who sustained injuries were just minor injuries. Now, development specialists say the early years determine not only child survival, but also whether children grow without chronic undernutrition and develop the cognitive and social emotional foundations required for learning, adaptability, and productivity later in life. These issues are at the center of a high-level evidence dialogue of policymakers, development partners, and researchers titled Early Childhood, Productivity, and Nigeria's Growth Choices, a Nigerian-led evidence lab on the early years. And our News Central's Aisha Saliu is live at the dialogue to give us more insight. Aisha, another very important conversation today. What specific gaps have the stakeholders identified as major obstacles to the early childhood development in Nigeria, and how could these challenges actually impact children in the long run?
Said that over time, the indices have shown that the early childhood development rate in Nigeria is quite low, and this has been attributed to, the record of one of the highest under 5 mortality rates globally, reflecting gaps in maternal care, immunization, and primary health care access, especially for children within the age range. Also, undernutrition, which has led to stunting for children remaining a major challenge for ECD in Nigeria, and it affects cognitive development for these children. Another challenge is the underweight, reflecting both chronic and acute malnutrition for children within this age range. Another challenge Nigeria is facing is Nigeria's pre-primary enrollment rate remaining really low, as children are not really enrolled early enough. You'd understand that Nigeria still account for highest number of out-of-school children. These are many of the challenges that the development experts here are stating that they are presenting and putting Nigeria very low, as if Nigeria is not ready to build and also invest in the children, because we know that children are said to be the future leaders of tomorrow. So the conversation is still ongoing on where these gaps are, where they are, whether at sub-national level, at the national level, and what issues have led to this. Could it be policy issues where policies are not met, especially following the Child Rights Act, amongst other policies that should be implemented, not just implemented, it should also be evaluated, monitored, to ensure that the outcomes that we want should begin to show, and Nigeria should be at par with global best practices.
So, Aisha, I mean, at gatherings like this, the hopes are that it's not just a convergence of talking heads. So what recommendations are emerging from this dialogue to actually help improve the key indicators and position Nigeria on a stronger path toward inclusive growth comparable with developed economies?
Since many of the experts here have identified several recommendations, they're talking about government at both national and sub-national level to begin to provide facilities, equipment, whatever children need to develop from age 0 to 5. Take, for example, wash facilities in schools, encouraging children to want to go to school, ensuring that our educational institutions are being positioned properly, amongst others. And it should move from policy, not just policy. It looks like policy is just on paper, but they are not properly implemented, and they are not even monitored or evaluated to see where we can minus from or add to.
All right, Aisha Saliu there on the Childhood Development Conference that is currently ongoing, with conversations to help children develop better. You're still live with us on the 12 Report. We go on a short break now. When we come back, we've got more stories. Please stay with us. Many thanks for staying with us. Now, the governor of Ondo State, Lucky Aiyedatiwa, says his administration is prioritizing the rehabilitation of critical road networks across the state to reduce travel time and curb frequent road crashes. The governor made this known during a fireside chat with Kayode Akintemi, the managing director of News Central, at the Ondo Investment Summit 2026 held on Monday in Akure. Governor Aiyedatiwa noted that improved road infrastructure will not only enhance safety, but also support growing investments in key sectors of the state's economy.
With your vision, you have the intention of impacting lives, and what will be the top 2 things that you think will change the lives of the people of Ondo State?
Thank you so much. See, if you want to impact lives of people, it can't just be 2 things, because
maybe 3.
Because for one to be fully impacted, one have to be impacted in so many ways, because every sector in the economy or in the state is very, very important. And just zeroing in on your experience when you were coming to the state, you have to come by road. And the road infrastructure is very, very important for everyone, because all of us, we move from one location to the other. So road infrastructure is very, very important for students, for market women, for industries, logistics generally, very, very important. And we have to build roads, and that is what you have seen happening from the road that have been awarded by federal government, the one you pass through, the dualization of or down to Ondo, down to Akure. And the other side of the road, which we have awarded, is the dualization of the same road from Okitipupa to Igbokoda, which is the first phase. And we have the intention of also awarding the Okitipupa to Ore, because we believe that the existing road, they are so narrow compared to what we're expecting, the kind of traffic that will be coming into that corridor from Akure down to the south. And that is why we are taking proactive measure by building infrastructure and waiting for the industry that will be springing up.
Now, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has commissioned 54 construction equipment procured by the state government for the 18 local government councils. The state government says the move is aimed at strengthening local capacity, accelerating rural infrastructure delivery, and deepening practical governance at the grassroots. News Central's Amenze Bazwaye reports.
It was a symbolic transfer of power to the grassroots. Bulldozers, graders, and other heavy-duty machines lined up, ready for deployment across Edo's 18 local government areas. Commissioning the equipment in Benin City, the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike commended Governor Monday Ukpeolu for prioritizing local councils, noting that development must extend beyond the state capital to rural communities.
What the Governor has done is to challenge you to do the same thing he is doing here in the city and the other areas.
Governor Ukpeolu, in his address, said the handover aligns with his administration's Shine agenda, stressing that the equipment is meant to open rural roads, improve drainage systems, enhance sanitation, and fast-track infrastructure delivery at the local level.
Our local government chairman, these equipments are for the development of our communities. It's not for personal use. Take good care of it. Clear the bush very well. Clear the road path very well.
Also speaking, Senator Adams Oshomole and other dignitaries present described the commissioning as a revival of active governance at the grassroots.
Governor Monday this afternoon is practically demonstrating that order is watched. The autonomy of local government shall translate to having tractors to develop the 18 local governments in this state.
The entire women in Edo State are grateful. We will knock on every door and march on every street to make sure that 2027 is settled.
The ceremony drew top government officials, including the Deputy Governor, Secretary to the State Government, Speaker of the Edo State House of Assembly, Council Chairman, and party leaders.
With this strategic investment, Edo State Government is placing capacity directly in the hands of the local government authorities, a move expected to accelerate development across all parts of the state. In Edo, for News Central, Ameze Bazwaye.
Now to business. The Lagos State government has approved a 13% increase in fares for Bus Rapid Transit, BRT, and Standard Bus Reform Initiative, BRT services, effective on Monday, March 2nd, 2026. The announcement was made in a statement by the Lagos Metropolitan Area Transport Authority, LAMATA, via its official X account. LAMATA disclosed that the fare hike was approved by Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu following appeals from regulated public transport operators who highlighted the economic challenges affecting transit services. LAMATA stated that the fare adjustment is designed to support public transport operations amid rising costs and inflationary pressures. Commuters were advised to plan ahead for the new fare structure. Now, gold prices fell more than 1% on Tuesday, easing from a 3-week high hit earlier in the session, as a stronger dollar and profit-taking weighed on prices while investors awaited clarity on U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff plans. Spot gold dropped 1.1% to $5,172.11 per ounce by 8:27 GMT, snapping a 4-session winning streak. U.S. gold futures for April delivery were down 0.6% at $5,191.50. Now, still to come, FMR UK Minister Mandelson arrested, released amid probe. We have the details after this break. And outside of Nigeria, South Africa is hosting a meeting of SADC health ministers in Johannesburg. The summit aims to discuss priority health issues, review progress made on regional health commitments, and strengthen collaborations in addressing shared public health challenges in Southern African development countries. Bongani Ziziba is on standby to give us more on this. Bongani, good afternoon to you. What is the update from the meeting?
A very good afternoon to you, blessings. The meeting here is the regional health ministers of SADC gathered to tackle some of the most pressing health challenges that are facing the Southern African region, where the discussions are centered on shared health issues with HIV and AIDS taking the spotlight, especially in the light of recent withdrawal of the US aid. So the ministers in their first discussion they discussed the progress that has been made and how countries are managing the epidemic and sustaining the treatment programs amid these changes in their countries. So earlier on, I also spoke to the health minister of South Africa, Aaron Motsoaledi, who said while HIV remains a significant concern in the region, South Africa and many other countries in SADC have made strides with HIV decreasing. Most people are now able to access treatment. The summit also addressed other critical issues that include malnutrition, hunger, that continues to undermine the development of people or young children in the region, but also they commended the achievement, particularly in the adolescents' health, with many countries that have reported improvements in empowering young girls through education, health initiatives, and also blessing access to reproductive services rather. But one of the key goals that was discussed today is the ending of tuberculosis by 2030. Although it remains a challenge in countries of the southern region, they also noted that there is a significant decrease also in tuberculosis. So the ministers are now in close discussions, also continuing with the discussions. But one topic that they also discussed was also the accessibility of contraceptives and vaccines in countries in the SADC regions, and innovative ways on how vulnerable populations can be protected. And also they discussed the issue of health financing, with many countries grappling to sustain health systems in Africa. We know that Kenya recently had signed data to the US. It's one of those critical topics that was also discussed here, especially how the continent can leverage digital platforms and also the data, how they can also secure their data, that the data of citizens is not sold to other countries. So these are some of the discussions that happened here. But what we know for now is that the ministers are still inside there, continuing with their discussions. We'll come back with more information as it unfolds.
Mbongani Siziba there on the SADC Health Ministers meeting, and like she said, we'll bring more information as it unfolds. And now in North America, Mexico has deployed 10,000 troops following deadly clashes triggered by the killing of the country's most wanted drug lord, Nemesio Oseguere Carventes, the leader of the Jalisco New Generation cartel. Authorities say Oseguere, also known as El Mencho, died after being wounded in a shootout with soldiers in Tapalpa, Jalisco State. His death sparked widespread violence, with cartel members blocking roads across multiple states and setting vehicles and businesses on fire. Officials say at least 74 people were killed in the fighting, including security personnel, suspected criminals, and a civilian. A prison attack also allowed several inmates to escape. 72-year-old former Labour Minister, peer, and former UK ambassador to the United States, Peter Mandelson, has been released after being arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. His arrest follows allegations that confidential government documents were sent to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein during his time in office. Officers from the Metropolitan Police entered Mandelson's residence in the late afternoon. He was later escorted from the property and driven away for questioning as part of an ongoing investigation. Now, for more on this, I'm joined by senior international correspondent and anchor Afia Hagan. Afia, Peter Mandelson has been seen leaving a police station after questioning. What exactly has happened today?
Well, Peter Mandelson, formerly Lord Mandelson, former member of the Labour Party and former British ambassador to the United States, was arrested yesterday. This is on suspicion of misconduct in public office, and this relates to his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, more details of which we got from the Epstein files, and particularly that huge dump of files that came earlier on this month. So he was arrested yesterday. This follows extensive searches at 2 addresses associated to him in England. Those searches took place and the police decided to arrest him at home. Yesterday he was taken to a police station and then he was released earlier on this morning.
So the government says the first Mandelson files will be published next month. What are these files?
So the Mandelson files relates to any documents that the government has in relation to how Peter Mandelson was appointed as the British ambassador to the United States. Now, Sir Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, has said that he believes Peter Mandelson lied to him about his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. And perhaps if he had been honest, Peter Mandelson wouldn't have been appointed as the British ambassador to the United States. So now there's going to be what's called a humble address in Parliament. And during that humble address, Parliament can, or members of both sides of the House, can request for those files to be published. They are going to be published in two halves, if you will, and those files will be all the documents that relate to how Peter Mandelson was appointed. So what internet searches were done, what any research was done by any members of the government into his background, and what the government knew about his relationship with the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, and how that factored in to Peter Mandelson getting the job of the British ambassador to the United States.
All right, very quickly before we let you go, how damaging is this for the current government?
Well, this remains to be extremely damaging for Sir Keir Starmer because his judgment is on the line here. Like I said, he says that he was lied to by Peter Mandelson, but definitely this is super damaging for Sir Keir Starmer and the people around him. I mean, his cabinet secretary has been forced to resign. Sir Keir Starmer has held on to his job, but his judgment is under fire here. So, of course, that means the government and his cabinet are under fire as to what they knew about Peter Mandelson and how he managed to be appointed in this way.
All right, News Central international correspondent and anchor Fia Hagen on the recent development on the misconduct in public office. It began with a strong online stance. Nigerian singer Simi joined the national conversation on sexual violence, speaking out against rape and calling for accountability. But soon after, old tweets from around 2012 resurfaced. The tweets were made when she was helping at her mother's daycare and included jokes about children, including claims a 4-year-old boy acted like he had a crush on her. Now, screenshots spread very quickly, with many Nigerians saying the wording felt inappropriate, particularly given the sensitive discussions at the time. Now, others argued the tweets were taken out of context and only reflected humor from years ago. Critics accused her of throwing stones from a glass house as she had just condemned sexual misconduct publicly. Supporters pushed back, saying the reactions was exaggerated and influenced by gender bias. Now, Simi has responded, refusing to apologize per se for tweets that she believed were misunderstood. She explained that the posts were based on real daycare experiences but are being read through a different lens years later. And she also insisted that she's never engaged in any inappropriate behavior with children. However, an online user has now come out to accuse her of sexual misconduct involving children at the daycare. This is heavy, and reports indicate that NAPTIP has launched an investigation. For now, the situation remains an allegation under review, and no official findings have been announced. You see, beyond the individual story, this moment reflects a larger cultural shift. Old tweets can resurface and reshape public perception, especially when celebrities take strong moral positions. Are we saying not to support these stances? No. But then maybe those who live in glass houses truly should not throw stones. Advocacy and accountability now exist side by side in a digital space where context often disappears. So be careful about your digital presence. That said, we'll now be crossing over to sports to find out what is happening in the sporting world. Favor Tour is on standby. Favor, are you ready for us?
Yes, of course, Blessings. All about the second Niger Delta Games. Edo State at the moment leading the medals table and looking like they want to win this one and being the host of the Niger Delta Games. But other states are looking forward to catch up. Delta State, including Bayelsa State. Lots of things to talk about during in the game.
Well, you've heard it. Stay tuned for In the Games with Favor Itua. But on this side, that's all on the 12 report for today. Do well to send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen because we want to see what you see. Also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, Gold TV channel 23, Star Times 274, Avo TV, and of course live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Osugu.